When you picture Paris, you probably see elegant stone facades, tree-lined avenues, and people sitting at outdoor cafes. But the creation of that postcard view required shattering the city that existed before it. Over a 17-year period, demolition crews systematically tore down 20,000 historic medieval buildings across the city center. The government framed this massive project as a public health campaign. In reality, the wrecking ball directly displaced over 350,000 of the city's poorest residents from their homes. The sweeping romantic boulevards we celebrate today are actually the physical remnants of the largest and most ruthless forced urban clearance in European history. To understand why they tore it all down, you have to look at how Paris was built before the 1850s. It was a dense labyrinth of dark, winding, and muddy alleys. That layout was terrible for sanitation, but it was absolutely lethal for the military. If a cavalry unit tried to suppress a riot, they would immediately get bottlenecked around the sharp, unpredictable corners. The citizens knew exactly how to exploit this geography. By simply tipping over a horse carriage and piling up some furniture and cobblestones, a handful of rebels could instantly block a narrow alley and create an impenetrable barricade. Between 1789 and 1848, the city was trapped in a continuous cycle of uprisings. When Emperor Napoleon III took power in 1852, he finally reached his breaking point. He realized that trying to police a labyrinth was impossible. To stop the relentless cycle of revolution, he had to completely destroy the physical battlefield his people were fighting on. To solve his revolutionary problem, Napoleon III hired a ruthless civil servant named Baron George Eugene Haussmann. His mandate was to carve 85 miles of massive trenches directly through the densest working-class neighborhoods. The sheer physical labor required to clear these central districts was staggering. Over nearly 2 decades, Haussmann's crews leveled entire neighborhoods to the ground. He replaced those winding alleys with a concept he called strategic straightness. When you compare the two maps side by side, you see perfectly linear avenues that eliminated every possible blind spot. This straightness created clear killing zones. It allowed the military to line up cannons and fire grape shot completely unobstructed for entire miles. He also designed these new streets to be massively wide, expanding them up to 100 feet across. Mathematically, a space that wide is virtually impossible to barricade using standard household items like wardrobes and bed frames. It also gave cavalry units plenty of room to sweep through and scatter crowds. Every defining architectural trait of modern Paris, from the endless straight lines to the sprawling widths, was engineered as a military countermeasure to ensure rapid troop movement and prevent civilian assembly. Haussmann didn't stop at the street layout. He positioned massive military barracks directly at the major intersections of his newly cleared boulevards, ensuring troops could deploy to any trouble spot in minutes. He even weaponized the infrastructure underneath the city. The famous state-of-the-art sewer system he built had a secondary covert function. The tunnels were large enough so that entire army regiments could march completely unseen, bypassing any street-level blockades the citizens managed to build. But perhaps his most effective tactic was social engineering. By clearing out the dense central slums, he pushed the poorer populations out to the eastern suburbs and lined his new boulevards with luxury apartments for wealthy, pro-government elites. He built a massive geographical division. If the displaced poor wanted to stage an uprising, they now faced a grueling march through miles of hostile territory, heavily patrolled by the army. In 1871, this massive urban overhaul faced its ultimate test. A major socialist uprising, known as the Paris Commune, took over the city, trying to spark another revolution. The communards fell back on their traditional resistance tactics, attempting to build blockades and fortify their neighborhoods within the newly redesigned streets. But Haussmann's design worked flawlessly. The French National Army poured into the city, easily leveraging the wide, straight avenues to march in formation, coordinate artillery strikes, and completely envelop the rebel strongholds. In a single week, known as the Bloody Week, the military systematically crushed the rebellion, killing an estimated 20,000 citizens. The boulevards performed perfectly as the efficient killing lanes they were engineered to be. Today, millions of tourists travel across the globe to admire the beautiful, romantic harmony of the Parisian streets. The profound irony is that they are strolling through the exact blueprints of a perfectly engineered military fortress.
Love uncovering city secrets and history in minutes? Hit that like button, share the mystery, and subscribe for more.